If you're in your 50s or your 60s and your retirement's getting close, but those freedoms and the adventures you dreamed about for your entire working career just seem a little bit out of reach, then this conversation is going to be for you. Because I want to ask you something. Do you really have a solid retirement plan? Or do you just have a plan to survive without a paycheck? See, lots of folks I talk to, they saved enough to stop working, but they never really build that confidence to really start living that retirement life that they've dreamed of for years. So my name's Harry. I'm a grandpa and a pilot from the prairies in Canada. And today I'm joined by a friend of mine, Andrea Geisinger, who is a ship's captain and a sailor currently exploring the waters around Fiji. So we travel, honestly, in two pretty different worlds. Mine is obviously the sky. Andrea's is on the ocean, the rolling seas. But both of our journeys started with a very similar decision. One, to stop putting our dreams on hold and really start moving towards them. So, without further ado, Andrea, welcome. How you
Hula
doing?
hula. That's as
You're
the
in a
Fijians
boat.
say, welcome. Thank you so much, Harold, to have
Yeah,
me here. I'm really stoked to share, you know, have a conversation with you about
some
our
stories,
dreams
some
that we.
insights. Can't wait to hear it. Looking forward to it. So
Awesome.
I want to get started with you here. You know, when we're talking about sailors, like a lot of us think about the old Spanish galleons, the really old sailing ships plying the waters. And, you know, those old sailors, they used to look across the horizon and they'd wonder what was out there. And, you know, pilots was the same way. They'd look at the skies and they'd ever wonder if the human being could ever leave the ground. And I can probably tell you the very moment that I knew that the skies were going to be part of me. What was it for you? What made you look at the sea and think, this is where I belong?
Well, I know that I always loved the water. Even as a little kid, loved swimming, loved being at the beach on
Nice.
vacation. Um, and then but how I got into the sailing was actually at the party. I heard a guy talk about sailing, and something in me says, like, I want to learn that. I was fortunate enough that my partner at that time had, I shared it with him, and he said, let's do it. We were living at the lake in Switzerland, and we started our journey. And soon after, we expanded it for ocean sailing, bought our own boat, and then moved to the States, got another boat, got a blue water cruiser about
Nice.
25 years ago. But one defining moment for me was to actually start working professionally in the maritime industry. Was I helped a friend deliver his boat back from Mexico to San Diego. I went through a divorce and I needed something to work. We talked about it. He says, like, you should work on these luxury yachts. And I'm like, yeah, that was actually my thought. So I go home, I go on Craigslist. For those who don't know, it's like all sorts of stuff that you can find there. Looked for like sailing gigs in San Francisco Bay because I wasn't ready to move on. Came across a deckhand position on a private ferry. Applied, they hired me right away. The next thing is one of the captains asked me or introduced me to a high-speed ferry. They were looking for deckhands. One of my co-workers was going through the captain's training, and I said, I could do that. And then fast forward, I got my license 6, 7 years ago. Drove high-speed ferries and been sailing. And also during COVID started as a sailing instructor because I went from 6, 7 days on the water to no day on the water. And I've been on the water ever since. You don't get me off that water.
Nice. Nice. And you know, something else that I think about too, like way back in the day, like stuff was risky. You know, sailing, flying, like we didn't have the stuff that we have now. It was risky. And like for us today, like we've got different risks is what it comes down to. I mean, we've got the mortgages, we've got the families, we've got maybe careers, maybe businesses that we got to keep an eye on. And we've got a lot of, you know, responsibilities and a lot of uncertainty quite often. So what was it for you that kind of kept you landlocked? And what finally made it that, the dream to get on the oceans was more powerful than the fear to stay landlocked?
I think it was my family, my children, because I
Mhm.
wasn't ready to leave them. They were, when and I was, I was lucky to be a stay-at-home mom while they were growing up until I divorced, and then I had to find something. But it was really, initially we went together as a family, but then I just that sense of adventure, that needing to go explore and be out on the ocean, it just became stronger. And I was fortunate enough that I had friends and coworkers that introduced me to opportunities, work on bigger boats, go up to Alaska. When we sailed up to Alaska, on our boat, I decided I want to spend a season up in Alaska. I don't know how, but I had that idea in my mind. I met a guy there who pointed me towards job website. I was searching for it. I found a job. I applied for it. They are like, "Oh, sorry, we already have kind of like a captain, but I really like your experience. And we also need a lodge helper." And I'm like, and I'm sure we can get you out on the water if you have the right license. And I'm like, oh, I really don't want to be a lodge helper. I want to be a captain. But I so wanted to go to Alaska. So I said, okay, I go. All right, fast forward. They text me, I want you to come sooner so we can train you with the other boat guy. Okay. I looked at the flights, and from San Francisco to Kodiak, you always have to go through Anchorage to Seattle, wait like 6, 7 hours. And our boat was in Seward, Alaska at that time. So I thought, well, why don't I come up there, join you guys, spend a week there, go sailing with you guys. And then from Anchorage to Kodiak, that's just a short hump, right? So I did that. We went off the grid, no cell reception for 3 days, come back into Resurrection Bay. My phone starts messaging. I see a message from the lodge manager saying, the captain has a health issue that was supposed to come. I guess you're going to be our captain.
Oh,
So I went
nice.
there thinking I'd be like a lodge helper, and I was a captain. So you just never know. But if you really know what you want and just believe it and keep it up front, and then things will happen.
And the magic, it's kind of like kismet, isn't it? And that kind of leads into my second question. Like, so many people think they need the confidence, they need something before they start. For me, for aviation, I can't tell you how many times I've been up in the air and I just thought, what on God's green earth am I doing here? You just wonder. But so I guess what I'm getting at is I kind of found the opposite. You get into those positions scared stiff. You get into those positions and you build that confidence. What's it been like for you? Was that kind of what you experienced? It sounds like
Oh my,
from your last story, it kind of did.
I mean, you don't know how many times I've been scared shitless. So excuse my language here. When I was a high speed, my first run as a high speed ferry captain by myself, we had 35 knots of crosswind when we
Oh,
needed to dock. I had my deckhand on the dock. I got blown off, and in my, still being a novice in a way, I wasn't able to keep the boat at the dock. So I had to let go of the line. I was blown off. I had a line dragging behind me. And if you know, a boat has propellers, lines and propellers, they do not mix,
they
right?
don't.
And so it took me three runs to get going, to get back to the dock, but I did it. But I was like, the next time I had to do that, I was like, I don't know. Same up in Alaska. I mean, it's one
Mhm.
thing to want and become the captain there, but now, and if you ever been in Alaska with the tidal waters, you just see
All of a sudden,
green
you
on the
are the
dark
captain.
water. You don't see the rocks, you don't see anything, right? So
Uh-huh.
there were many, many times inwardly I was saying, okay, I am calm, confident, relaxed. I'm calm, confident, relaxed. Just to kind of like Being
Uh-huh.
on an ocean passage, like, it's blowing stink, it's night, like 20 knots, you're flying the spinnaker and it's just gusts and squalls, and it's just something, you
So it
somehow you get
sounds to
through it.
me,
Yeah,
it
and
sounds to
then
me like you have to become the person that did that.
yes, yeah,
You have
yeah.
to
You
become
just
that person.
Yeah, you become more confident every single time
Mhm.
you you
Yep.
pass a challenge in a way. You
Yep.
succeed
Yep.
in a challenge, be it like
Yep.
resetting the anchor in, like, you know, middle of the
Yep.
night,
Yep. And you can do
getting
all
through
the
the reef.
tests and all the paperwork and read all the books you want until you are on the line. It's the same in
You
the air.
have to be
Until
on the
you're
line.
on the line, until you're facing the storm right in its face.
Yeah.
That's what makes you.
And
That's what makes it.
know that you have what it takes to get through
Yeah.
it,
And you
right?
become that
And
person.
I mean, I've been so many times. I mean, in my head, I start thinking about all what could happen. I'm freaking out, panicking, right? But then when
Hmm.
you're actually there, I mean, yes,
You just
preparation
go.
is key, right? And you
Then you
don't
fall
know
back to
until
your
you get
training.
there, you just go through. And then like,
Yep.
oh, I did that. I didn't die. I
Hmm.
can do it again. Right? So you're expanding
Yeah.
you're
Nice.
expanding comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's and life
Yeah.
lives outside the comfort zone.
Well, it's always the best parts of life live outside the comfort zone.
The most
So,
scary one as well.
yeah. And I mean, I think back to our forefathers, the original aviation people, the original seafarers. They were always chasing new adventures, new lands, new skies. For I don't know about for you, but for me, I'm chasing something different. I'm chasing more freedom. I want to be able to have those experiences. I want to be able to fly. We're going to get to that in a minute, but I want to be able to fly different airplanes, different experiences. I want to learn more. I want to fly in different kinds of skies. I'm sure you want to see different oceans, different experiences on the water. What does that exploration mean to you now? Like what does that look like for you now?
So being having the opportunity to spend like 4 months in Fiji, getting to experience the
Yeah, that's
country,
rough.
and I only saw like a small portion. I thought
Uh-huh.
I'd see everything, but no. Um, I I
Am I
need to
correct?
come
There's hundreds of islands there, is there not?
333 islands,
Yeah,
and
how
I've
can you see
only
that?
seen
That's one a
like,
day for a year.
well, I know people, they cruise here for 12 years,
Wow.
right? So for me, it is definitely, I need to come back to Fiji. I don't know how. And, from the freedom that you said, right? Um, so I'm not really making much money here. I just boat sit.
Live.
I just get like peanuts.
Mhm.
I can be lucky if it covers my mortgage.
Mhm.
And for me, it is more important to create these experiences and these explorations and go
Yep.
places where I feel
Well,
drawn
it's that's
for. And
something to talk about. Nobody wants to hear about you sitting in the boardroom making a deal. That's a magical experience what you're doing right now.
yeah,
So on that note, somebody getting close to retirement that that's looking at us and looking at our adventure lifestyles, like what would you say to them, somebody getting close to retirement who still believes, who's still thinking, well, I'll do it next year, who's still thinking, those adventures can wait? I
they
know what my
cannot
thoughts
wait.
are on that. You never
They
know, like,
cannot wait. Yeah,
just
they cannot.
my thoughts are just get her done, like do it.
Yeah, yeah. And because someday is not a day in the calendar. And yeah,
Hey, isn't
just,
that the truth?
you know, just do it. Do it. I mean, I knew I wanted to come to Fiji. I got an opportunity. I knew I wouldn't make much money. And I said, this is what I want to do, and money will follow. right?
Mhm.
And it can get scary if
Sure.
you're, don't know where, but do not, because ultimately you cannot take the money to your grave. All the
Well, yeah.
experiences.
And I think that's a lot of what people worry about is they wonder if they're going to run out before they
There
go to
is
the grave.
always a way.
There's always a way. There's
There's
always a way.
always a way. And the thing is, we always feel like, or a lot of people feel like, you got to see the whole path where you're going, right?
Mhm.
But no, and then they're waiting until they see that path. But you don't know. You just start one step. The journey starts with the first step you're making.
Yep.
And then the
Yep.
path will evolve, and you will have everything you need will
Yep.
come to you. And that having that trust, it's not easy, but it's
Yeah.
worth developing.
Yeah. And certainly from my experience, those paths are never the same as what you thought they were going to be in the first place. Never. So
I
anybody who
never
thinks
thought
they're
it'd
going
be
to
a
map it out
kaplan.
right to the end, it's going to be 180 degrees off where you dreamed it'd be.
Yeah.
So this has been great. Anything else you want to add?
No, just, start dreaming if you haven't started.
Yeah.
Don't stop dreaming. Go make it happen.
And
Believe
make
that
your
you can
dreams
do
into
it.
memories.
Exactly. Make them into memories and experiences and then share
Mhm.
them,
Yeah.
right?
No,
Because
absolutely. Absolutely. So, but here's what I want to do. I want to, for our viewers, I want to toss out there a little bit of a challenge. On September 15th, I'm going to England, and this has been a dream of mine for years. We're going to fly Spitfires. Me and a buddy of mine are going to England. We're going to fly original World War II Spitfires. And I am just off. I have been thinking about this, dreaming about this, planning about this for so many years, I can't count them. And all of a sudden, like, I ran into a buddy of mine and he said, well, let's just go then. And so him and I are going, and this is like a dream comes true. And another one gets knocked off the bucket list, right? So what I want to ask is like what's the next one for you? What's your next challenge that you're going to head for? Do you have one?
well, one is how to come back to Fiji, but really what's on my bucket list is going to Antarctica, and not just
Yes.
visiting. Ideally, I would love to work there.
Spend some time and work there. That would be
I
so
have
cool.
no idea how, when, and it just
But
it,
you just know. You just know what'll happen. And like
yeah,
I said at the beginning, stop putting that stuff on hold and start moving towards it. And the path will open. And that's
yeah.
just the way it is. So, again, for my viewers, for the viewers that are on here right now, I'm going to toss out a little challenge for you. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about something that you've been dreaming about for far too long. And I want you to put it down, make it so. Put it down in words, put it in the comments. This was your dream, and you're going to do it. I want you to set a date. I want you to start saving for that. And, just start planning it. I mean, that first step that you take doesn't have to be a big step, but you just want to start moving in that direction. So, again, for my viewers, my challenge to you, throw it in the comments. What's your dream? What's it going to take to get there? When do you want to do it by? And take one small step towards it.
Can I say something? What I'd like
Go
to
right ahead.
add is, I would like to add for you viewers, that once you have your dream, your bucket list, create like a 5 second movie in your mind. For example, like
Yes.
you see your foot stepping into the airplane, or you see, just something that reminds you of that dream, that puts you
Uh-huh.
actually in the place that you're actually in your dream. It's already reality.
Right.
Do that every single
Absolutely.
day,
That's a good one.
and then it will happen.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because it's not like, oh, it's the dream is further out. It's like you're right in here. So
Yeah. And
the
you can
only thing
feel
is,
it.
you just have to close that, you close that gap between where you are and where you want to be, and your mind will
Mhm.
lead you there.
Make it happen. Make it happen. So again, I mean, guys, your first step does not have to be a big first step, but it has to be a first step, and it just has to be real. So come on, guys, get out there. Let's go make some memories worth talking about.